things. If you're not speaking, please mute so the background noise doesn't interfere. And number two, if you would put your information in chat, your name and who you represent, citizen or otherwise, and then I can recapture that. But since there's not a whole lot of us, maybe we will do a few introductions before we introduce our guest. So let's start with Greg. Okay, you didn't hear me. Erica, would you introduce yourself?
Sorry, I had myself on mute.
Oh, okay,
anyhow, I'm Greg Dinger, Mount Shasta West. We've got a small group that's active over here.
All right. Joey Hott.
Hi, this is Joey Hott with Black Mountain Fire Safe Council.
Erica Terrence.
Yeah, hi, that's me. I put it in the chat. I'm the Klamath River Trex Public Information Officer. Lindsay sent me the meeting information and asked me to join tonight. I'm down in Soames Bar, California right now.
Awesome. Jennifer.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Erickson. I'm the Forest Fire Prevention Officer here on the Klamath National Forest.
Kimberly Duvall.
Hi, Kimberly Duvall, Public Affairs Officer for the Klamath National Forest.
Right. Lindsay Lyshek.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Lindsay Lashek. I work for the Shasta Valley RCD, based out of Wairika, but right now we're down here helping with Klamath Trex in Orleans. And then we recently hired another employee at the RCD, and I'll let her introduce herself.
Hi, my name is Delphine Griffith, and I started working for the RCD like 2 weeks ago. So yeah, excited.
All right. Well, welcome to the group. All right, and Mike Wilson.
Hi, everyone. Mike Wilson, California Fire Safe Council Northern Region Coordinator.
Hi. And this is, hang on, new gallery, full screen. And it isn't Linda, it's change the name, rename.
Just put down Randy. Yeah, Randy. Put Randy Coco space. There you go.
That's just because you're on my computer.
Right now, how come I'm not having sound?
We can hear you, Randy.
Isn't on right now.
Yeah, we can hear you.
No, I gotta find it. It's not muted.
It's muted?
No.
Hear you, Randy.
They can probably hear you, but I can't hear. Okay, hang on.
And the puppy dog.
Audio. Hang on. Exit full screen. I have to do this.
Okay. Yeah, this X'd.
Okay, we can hear you, Randy. You want to go ahead and mute, or you want to introduce yourself first?
I'm Randy Coco, Hammond Ranch Fire Safe Council.
Awesome. And then go ahead and mute if you're not talking, mute it. Susie Brady.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Susie Brady. I'm the Fire Prevention Specialist and the Public Affairs Officer for CAL FIRE Siskiyou Unit.
Welcome. Besides, oh, well, there's two people I will introduce in a moment. Is there anybody else besides Duria and Peter that have not introduced themselves?
This is Neil Pawson. I'm in Mount Shasta.
All right. How about Sandy Zur? It's probably Paul.
No, it's actually Cindy Zur, and I'm a
Cindy,
resident.
there you are.
I'm a resident of Siskiyou County, and I'm also affiliated with the Wildfire Mitigation Network.
All right, welcome, Cindy. Tyler Avery.
Yeah, good evening, Tyler Avery, Pacific Power Emergency Management.
Okay. So anybody else? Again, please enter your information in chat. I can capture it better that way. And I'd like to take the time right now to introduce from the California Insurance's Commissioner's Office, Peter Meza and Duria Syed. So both of you take your time and talk at your will, and welcome.
Thank you so kindly, Giselle, and everybody here. We appreciate the invitation, the opportunity to come and present, very important information while we're dealing with so many fires. It just seems like it's been a year-round kind of thing. And so my coworker here, Duria Syed, is helping with a PowerPoint, but she's in charge of this region. So, I'm sure if you need something, you can email her and get in touch with her. She'd be more than happy to help you. So I just want to go ahead and take some time here to present some information regarding our department and what we're doing and some of the bills that have been passed and affected and been a positive impact for the department and for the communities that have been dealing with some of these issues. So, as you know, we regulate the insurance industry. Somebody's got to regulate it. It's a $340 billion industry. We're the largest market in the entire United States. Everybody looks to us. So the insurance commissioner's role is to protect consumers and to maintain insurer solvency. We want to make sure that they have the funds and they have sufficient monies in the bank to cover the losses. So that's something we look at carefully. We audit them financially. We audit them to make sure they're stable and they're paying their claims and that they are not going under, because that's the worst thing we could have, that insurance company goes under. So we haven't had too much of that happen. It's very rare that it happens. And I don't think we've seen that. And I've been with the department 21 years and it's happened a few times, but it's very rare when it happens. So it's less than the number I have in my hand here. It may be a couple, but anyway, we enforce the insurance laws of California. So these are some of the roles that the commissioner has whatever's on the books that's what we can enforce. So that is where his role is. Move on to the next slide. So it's important for you to understand, and I encourage folks to really get to understand their homeowner's policy. Some of you may have a different policy, but this is pretty much probably 70 to 80% of the policies in California are HO3s, I would say. The majority are standard HO3 policies. If you're dealing with a manufactured home or other types of buildings, it may be a little different, but this is a standard policy. So it's kind of nice to go with this, because if you're a renter, then it would just be a portion of these coverages, but at least I'm covering kind of a whole spectrum for everybody. So HO3, it has the dwelling coverage. It's important for you to pull out your deck sheet. It's called the declaration sheet. It's usually the first page or the second page. If the first page is a welcome letter, then your second page would be the declaration sheet, and it gives you a summary of all your coverages. And if you have an HO3 policy, you're going to see these coverages. It's important for you to also understand that dwelling coverage is the foundation. I like to say it's the foundation for the entire policy, because everything else is based, it's the amounts that are given to you automatically are set by the amount you have in dwelling. So you may have the dwelling coverage, then you'll have other structures for swimming pools and fences, and even a garage that is not attached to the main house that has a clear space, and that would be other structures. So that is automatically set, according to how much you have in dwelling. It's a percentage of that, and it goes on the same thing with personal property. The same thing with loss of use. It's all set according to that dwelling coverage that you have. So it's important for you to go over this policy, try to understand those. I'm not going to go into details as to what all these mean. I'd be more than happy to do it. And if you have questions on it, I can come back to it. But there are, these are the coverages: loss of use, which is for the time that you're away from your home while your house is being built. You got for money to rent a home, lease a home, pay for meals and so forth. So personal property obviously covers you for lawsuits, things that happen, negligence that happens, maybe a water water hose that's left in front of the yard, and somebody trips over it on your sidewalk. Medical payments to others, anybody that doesn't live in your home, they would have immediate medical payments coverage. Those are usually not that high limits. You're 5, 10, 25,000 at the highest. Personal liability uses up to $300,000. All right, let's go to the next slide. One important thing for you to understand is, are you underinsured? We see a lot of folks still underinsured. It's important to conduct an annual checkup. I know insurers are doing biannual checkups. They didn't used to do this. We were having a lot of problems. 2003 fires, I was one of 5 claims compliance officers that was auditing for the 2003 fires. And we saw a lot of problems with people being underinsured. Insurance companies weren't really, they were, waiting 10 years, 5, 10 years to audit and see if, how people were doing with their insurance. And there was not a lot of movement. Now insurance companies are being a little more diligent, but I like to tell people, trust but verify. So you go back to the insurance agent, tell them I need a checkup. Remember, rebuilding cost is not the home selling price. So a lot of people say, hey, my house is worth $500,000. That's what it's on the market for. That's not what you're looking for as far as the price to build the house and rebuild the house. Remember that it's the land that is not really covered. The land is not going to be destroyed after fire. So your fire policy really doesn't cover for land damage. It just covers for the home, the foundation, and so forth. So understand that. It may be the same, but more than likely it's not. It would just be a coincidence if it was. Actual cash value. Understand actual cash value is the amount to replace an item versus minus some depreciation. So insurance companies, they say, hey, if you have a 10-year-old sofa, we're going to take some depreciation, and they may take depreciation of 5% a year or something. You would deal with that once that happens, but there would be a depreciation. Replacement cost is the replacement cost to replace that sofa at today's price. So you may paid $800 5 years ago, but you have replacement cost coverage. It's going to mean that you can replace that even if it costs $1,200. So remember, you have to also consider your limits. So you may get to your limits a little sooner, but that's important for you to understand the difference between that. Building code upgrades, I like to encourage folks to make sure they add that to their policy. Sometimes cities or different communities have the building codes. They change and they say, hey, now you got to use copper wire. You can't use this type of wire or this type of tubing. And so things change and you have to rebuild a house. If you don't have this building code upgrade, then that's going to be something that you would have to pay out of your pocket. So it's important for you to make sure you get it. It's not that much more. It could be $5 a month, more a year. So it's important for you to consider that. Loss assessment has to do with HOAs. It's important for you. I talked to a lot of people, and I had one couple come up to me after an event. They said, hey, listen, I'm glad you talked about it, because when we were sold a policy about 6 months before, our agent insisted on us getting an HOA. We were like, loss assessment for our HOA. And it turned out that the insurance company for the HOA couldn't pay the entire claim for the common areas for the HOA community. And so they had to assess every homeowner, like I don't remember, it was 3,500 or it was some great number, 5,000, some crazy number. And they said because they had this coverage, their insurance company covered for that loss assessment, but everybody else had to come up with some amount of money. So it doesn't cost much. It's about $5 a month. Also, I got it for myself. And I told the insurance company I need it. I'm an HOA, so it's important. Remember, construction costs soar. So, remember that when you're dealing with this. Next slide, please. You need to understand that property rate regulation, it is regulated by law. It's governed by law. Rates cannot be excessive or inadequate. So that's what the law says. The law says they cannot be excessive or inadequate. And they can be higher for brush and wildfire areas. Yes, they can. It is true. Insurers can generally choose where they want to write. They can say, yes, we'll write here. No, we won't write there. That is the law. That is what we're dealing with. Insurers must maintain eligibility guidelines. These are things that we do review, and we do look at that. It has to be specific and substantially related to the loss exposure. So they have to be able to justify that. And there are things that they do to present to us to show us that that it is specific and substantially related to the loss exposure. Next slide, please. Non-renewed. Have you been non-renewed? I know this is a big problem. I know it is. And it used to be that the law said that you had 45 days after non-renewal to get, as far as being notified. You needed a 45-day notification. Now we've, with the commissioner and the things that we've done here at the department, we were able to get sponsor some legislation that it extended it to 75 days. Now that's beautiful. It might not be enough, but at least it helps somebody, they're not rushing, just to get it within 30, 45 days. Now they got at least 75 days. So we're trying to get that better. If you've been non-renewed, call us at our CDI number, which is also at the bottom of this slide and every slide that we're presenting. Call your current insurance company, call your insurance agent, broker, widen your search. Maybe you've exhausted all the insurance agents in your area and you're trying to, these agents have saturated the market and they sold so many policies there that they pretty much are being told no by the insurance company. But if you try an insurance agent maybe outside, they have, other insurance companies they're connected to. So call your agent, broker, widen your search, check the non-admitted carrier market and also the surplus line lines market. So these are markets that, they're alien and non-alien areas. Also remember the FAIR plan. The FAIR plan is the place of last resort. So you're more than welcome to try them if you have no success. Next slide. Keeping your coverage. Insurance companies cannot renew for almost any reason that is risk related. So I know this, I'm a bearer of bad news. I'm the messenger. I know you can't throw a tomato at me because I'm on a screen, but maybe some of you, are wondering, well, why, but this is something that is in law. So they can basically, non-renew for any reason. Claims history can cause a non-renewal. So if there's a claims history, for some reason, there have been, some claims that were on a house, maybe you're buying a house and somebody before you put a claim in, it's possible that can impact it. And it's possible that while you're in that home, if you put in a claim for, maybe some plumbing got backed up, in the toilet or something, you can actually end up being non-renewed because of claim history, especially if you have substantial claim history. Things under your control, the condition of the property, the roof, the plumbing, all these things, brush on your property. There's AB 38. Many of you know about AB 38. It sets new standards for constructions and certain things, mitigation. These are real important things. Brush on property, leaves on gutters, flammable items stored on property. All these things are under your control. There are things you can do. There are some things that are not under your control. Location of your home, it's near brush or near a forest. Undeclared brush on your neighbor's property. I've heard this comment a lot. Your property is perfect, but then you go to the back and there's federal land or county land or some neighbor that doesn't want to clean it up. You can get in touch with your fire department and sometimes they can assist you, but those are things that possibly you can that are not in your control. Wildfire risk score, you have no control over that. What is your fire risk score? Well, so many of us don't even know, if they were to tell us, many don't tell us. So, it's important to understand that that's something that's not in your control. Next slide. Okay, I think I'm getting some competition there, but I'm gonna try to speak to it. Remember, the California FAIR Plan is a insurer of last resource or resort and standard fire policy. It's for high-risk properties. It has certain coverage limitations. I wanna say something about this here. It is not a standard fire insurance policy. I think somebody made a mistake in this PowerPoint. I picked up some things here. It's not a standard. It's for high-risk properties. Okay, so you must understand that. It has some coverage limitations. So understand, it's for named peril policies. You can say I want fire, lightning, internal explosion, and smoke only. And that's what it would cover for. It does not cover for liability and other perils. So it's very limited on what it covers. You currently, in order to have a comprehensive policy that will cover everything, you need to get a separate what we call a wraparound policy. It's a differences in conditions policy. And so they would get a separate policy that would cover the additional things that you don't have under the Fair Plans policy. Currently, it's called a difference in conditions policy. Okay, there it is. Temporary safety net. It is a temporary safety net. We encourage folks to get out of it as soon as they can. It's just a temporary place to get you, into a place where you're insured. Try to get back into the standard market as soon as you can. By the way, the insurance commissioner was able to have the FAIR Plan. Now they're in the process of creating a full comprehensive plan, which will include not just the not just the fire part of it, but also all the other areas, the liability and all the other things. So we're looking at that. Hopefully that'll be up and we could see what the coverages will be. But we won a case. They sued us when the commissioner told them that he wanted them to do that, and the courts upheld that the commissioner has the authority to do this. So hopefully that's coming soon. Next slide. CDI has increased consumer protections. We've done a lot of bills. There's a lot of bills that have been passed within the last couple of years that we have been able to enhance a lot of things about the insurance, and especially in dealing with fire insurance. We've extended the amount of time that an insured can use the ALE part. It used to be only 2 years after declared disaster. Now it's gone to 3 years. And it adds even more than 3 years if a person can substantiate that there are problems that are out of their control. So mandatory. Now this is important here because I know you guys had received an email, at least Giselle had, and from Daria regards to mandatory 1 year declared disasters. Okay, so there's a new bill that was passed. It was presented in 2018 by then Senator Ricardo Lara, and this was before he became the insurance commissioner, and he had been involved in sponsoring this and presenting this AB 824. So what it does, it sets up a authority for the insurance commissioner to place a 1 year moratorium on non-renewals and cancellations by insurance companies. So insurance companies have to abide by this once there has been a disaster. And then the governor has declared it in an actual disaster. Then the insurance commissioner can step in and he can put a 1 year moratorium on the area there. And then they determine, they get together with CAL FIRE and they determine the surrounding areas, also certain zip codes, and they will all be protected. Now, there have been 3 years that we've done moratoriums, 2019, 2020, and 2021. So we have information on our website. We encourage you to go there and check that out, and you can see the zip codes. A lot of times people aren't sure, that if their zip code is part of it. You can see, each one of those zip codes and see if that has been impacted. Also, helping homeowners. We are helping homeowners to recover from fires, find insurance, home insurance. We have a home insurance finder tool. So you can call us actually, and we will help you through it, or go to our website. Assist homeowners in filing claims and maximizing their insurance benefits following the disaster. That's what we do. Call us at our number. Once again, it's right there, 1-800-927-HELP, or go to our website, insurance.ca.gov. We're happy to talk to you on we have the chat feature there and so forth. So next slide. Commissioner, this is where he's acting. This is where he is, the things that he is proposing. This is his action plan. So the insurance commissioner has is wanting to require transparency for wild risk score models for homeowners and business, or for homes and businesses. So if we can find out what is behind these models, and if we can find out what it is there, then everybody would be on the same level playing field, because it turns out that some insurance companies use one model, other insurance companies use other models, and they say, hey, you can't see our information. We can't see behind the data and what they use in order to come up with these risk scores. And without that, we really don't know what they're using. It's really incredible. One house is next door another, and they look exactly the same, and one's insurable and one's not. And it just seems really weird, So, we've got to deal with some of this risk score and some of the background behind it. Require these models to take into consideration and to account not only individual mitigation, but also the community mitigation. Places like Paradise. I was in Paradise last week doing a presentation for the community there. And they're trying to do some creative things to make the entire community, as you know, pretty much the entire town burnt down. It was a great amount of the town. And I was there, like I said, last week, I took video, and a lot of it still hasn't been built back up. And, you know, it's sad, but they're saying if we can build this community to be fire safe, it's been mitigated for, you know, it's been hardened, perhaps, you know, that can be considered. And so these are the type of things that we'd like to see, that they would take, insurance companies would take the community and the individual mitigation into consideration. Currently, it is not that way. Requires these models to be open for public review, allows consumers to appeal their risk scores if they believe it's been based upon wrong information. Would it be awesome to say, hey, you know, my risk score is showing, you know, a 10, you know, as an ISO. And, you know, you say, hey, wait a minute, you know, tell me why it is and explain to me, and we can see the data, and then we can help you determine if that is correct or not. We currently can't do that. Give consumers time to address mitigation issues to lower their risk scores. So this is all part of the commissioner's desire in his plan. Next slide. Insurance fraud, watch out for scammers after disaster. They show up in droves. They come out from out of state. They put PO boxes in the Lorca community, and they say they have a suite, but it's really just a little box, lock box, in a storefront, you know, area. And you got to watch out for those, because they will come out of town. They know there's a big disaster and there's a lot of money to be made. Be careful. Make sure they're local, and you know, make sure they're contractors. Check with the contractor state license board. And make sure they're licensed here in the state. Don't get burned informational guide. We have that. It's online. Also at www.insurance.ca.gov. You can read it there. You can download it there. You can call us for it. You will send it to you for free. Report suspected fraud. Let us know you see somebody out there scamming. Call us at our 1-800-927-4357 number. Go. By the way, we're there Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, except holidays. And everybody there is an expert that answers the phone. Every single officer, we have associated insurance compliance officers that are answering the phones and helping you. So you will not be on the line longer than 2 minutes before they answer the call, if that. So they're pretty good about answering. You can also go to our website and talk on the chat feature and get some information there that way. Next slide. We have informational guides, residential insurance guide. We encourage you to fill out your home inventory guide. It's one of the most difficult things, claims to settle, is that property claims, personal property claims so make sure you get that all inventoried, your stuff, and then put it in the cloud. Don't leave it in your home. Take pictures, keep receipts, document what rooms the different items were in. Don't Get Burned guide is a great guide, so you can understand what you're dealing with when there has been a disaster. We now call it Don't Get Scammed guide. I think we call it here Don't Get Burned. But property claims guide, it's a good guide also that really goes over the process of rebuilding your home. And it kind of goes, it's a really great guide. The top 10 tips for finding homeowners insurance is a great, our website also has that. We have the home insurance finders tool. There's the annual consumer complaint study, which I call the report card for insurance companies. And there's one there for residential insurance. There's one for auto too, but you can focus on whatever you need. There's also a premium comparison guide. You can kind of get an idea. It's not a quote, but you can at least understand the different, price ranges with the different insurance companies. Next slide. This is the last slide. Department of Insurance, there's our consumer line again, and our website. So I think our last slide is ask questions. If it's not, I'm ready to take any questions that you need at this time, you would like to address.
Thank you, Peter. I appreciate that. Anybody have a question? Okay.
I have a question.
Sure.
Are the insurance companies just trying to get out of insuring areas that are in high risk? I live in Siskiyou County, and we're in extremely high risk where I live. are insurance companies going to just try to dump people in high-risk areas?
I'm going to be honest with you. We have seen a 30% increase in non-renewals. So they do have the choice whether to insure in one area or another. And they are, I think a lot of people are finding that their risk scores are going higher without any changes to their property. It hasn't, the mitigation is there, the home hardening is there. Nothing has changed, and we are seeing a lot of non-renewals. So to answer your question, that is why the action plans by the commissioner. He's trying to get a hold of this and try to find out. And there was a lot of data that we're collecting, which we weren't doing before. That was part of AB 824, as a matter of fact. So we're now collecting data that we didn't get before. And there have been some additional things that we're doing. We're holding hearings, finding creative ways, looking at grant maybe ideas like other states have done. So we're trying to be creative, but I'm going to be honest with you, it is a problem in the high risk area where we call the WUI, the wild interface, wild urban interface. So it is a problem. It is a problem. And, we're trying to get a hold of it. We're hoping that communities like yours, fire safe councils like yours can be of assistance to us once we get to that place where perhaps we've got a bill ready to go, and you can help us by communicating with your officials and, tell them that you want the bill to pass. And so, we're going to need your help when you get to that place.
I had a question come in. Oh, someone go ahead.
One more question. How can I find my risk score?
Yeah. That's kind of what I was trying to mention earlier. It's something that insurance companies aren't required to give to you. At this point, that's part of also the commissioner's plan is to get that information and make it public for folks to see, because I think that would be awesome if you can see your score and then you can challenge your score, because you say, hey, wait a minute, you're saying that my risk score is based on this, but at this moment in time, we do not have the ability to require them to give you your risk score.
Thank you.
I had a question come to me. Do insurances cover your landscaping and your trees? Will they replace those or?
Absolutely. It's part of absolutely. It's in the policy. It's pretty standard. If it's a standard HO3 policy or one of the other policies, it's pretty standard. It's going to be the shrubs are actually a part of the policy there. I don't recall right off the top of my head. It's either dwelling or other structures, but I'm pretty sure it's under dwelling. It's going to have an amount. So remember, insurance policies they have limits within limits. So it may say we only cover up to, 10,000 for shrubberies, so you got to read your policy. That's where you go behind the actual declaration sheet and look at all those papers that are behind it, that contract that Avery hates to read. Okay, well, that's the part where you're probably going to find that, but it's pretty standard in all policies that you're going to have a certain amount of coverage for shrubberies and trees and all that stuff.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? Now's the time. He's here, and it's really good information.
Giselle, I have a question.
Sure.
Peter, do you have any insight on when the action plan items that the commissioner has developed, when those will be implemented, particularly the mitigation for individual and community mitigation efforts?
That's a great question. So let me answer it this way. The insurance commissioner can only enforce the law. So now you got to think of, well, what are we going to do? So we've got to get a bill sponsored. You can imagine the length of time it takes to do that. Sometimes there are things that the governor can do, and they can do certain things, emergency type of laws. So we don't know where in that spectrum it's going to fall, but the insurance commissioner does have a very important hearing coming up in November. And he's bringing in quite a bit of experts. And, we've done this before, actually, but we're really trying to narrow it down. And I think that we're down to the wire now as to, what we're looking for. And that's why I presented what the commissioner's trying to do. but I can't tell you the timeline because it can turn into an emergency one that, boom, it's done overnight, or it could be that it has to go through the whole session, and get it done during that time. So I can't be very specific on the time frame right now. But just keep your eye out and keep in touch with us. I'm sure Daria will send you information the moment we're ready to present that to you and keep you updated.
And also to add to that, as Peter was sharing about our brochures and about all the material that is online, I would be happy if any of you want me to send it in for your offices to share it in regular brochures, which are not e-brochures and 10 tips and anything. So feel free to, Giselle has my email and my number, so just email me and I will send it to you. You all are my territories and it's an honor to be here to see all of you that whatever way Department of Insurance and we can help you, we are here to do that.
Thank you so much.
Here's a question in chat. How about getting insurance for prescribed burning to make your home more fire safe
Let me read that again here.
and insurable?
How about getting insurance for prescribed burning to make your home more fire safe and insurable? Prescribed burning.
I can answer. I can take that one, Peter.
Okay.
So we recently went to Calder Fire and we were shared the same thing because prescribed fire has been a big thing. I don't remember the exact bill, but Governor just signed the bill on that. It was a bill by Bill Dodd. So the bill was about prescribed fire because we know that the prescribed fire can do two things. Not only it helps, reduce the fuel, but it also helps in volunteer firefighter training and stuff. So that's one thing that has signed by the governor. So we are happy and pleased to share that with you.
Anything more? Did that answer that question?
Yeah, that was my question. I think I was mainly wondering if that's likely to become more insurable. And I think the answer is yes. I think the answer I just heard was yes.
Okay.
I would think that the insurance company would definitely take that into consideration, So.
Yes, but I also think that, though I have to add after your question, that the prescribed fire has a lot of rules and regulations. So I don't know if it will be for you to do it or they will have kind of places or things where you can, how some of the fire communities have places where you can, give your fuel or stuff like that. So I'm not sure about that part because I think there are strict rules and regulation to that bill.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. You have the correct training and qualifications to do it.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, anything that you do to mitigate or home harden is always good. You know what I'm saying? So we could only see a positive in it. I don't know that it is mandated that insurance company, just because there was a prescribed burn is required to cover something. So there's a lot of factors that go into whether they will insure or not insure somebody. But I'm hoping I can get into it. How about getting insurance? Yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying. So there would be a specific portion of your policy for the prescribed burning. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, I think you need to follow the CAL FIRE and let them do it. I think it might be more limited. So
yeah, I think that's
yeah.
what it will be, but I need to look into the details,
Yeah.
All good answers.
Thanks.
So anyone else? Well, thank you, Daria and Peter. We sure appreciate taking the time to join us and share with us pertinent information that you have. And hope if we need you to, you can come back again.
Absolutely.
So anyway, so we'll move on with the rest of the agenda. I think Greg, you wanted to make an announcement? Greg? Oh. Did you want to
Are
make
you
an
asking
announcement?
me?
Yeah,
I'm not sure what announcement you were referring
about
to.
your inspection. You said you wanted to share about your inspection.
Oh, I was just telling you. I just had CAL FIRE come by
Oh.
and report to me today that I passed the inspection. Not a big deal.
Yay. Yay. All right. So now we're going to move into the agencies, and we're going to defer for the night. Unless you have something burning that you want to share, we'll defer the local fire safe council. So next up, Mike Wilson, do you have anything to share?
Thanks, Giselle. I just wanted to share, I did put a link into the chat in regards to the current grant funding available for evacuation routes. And I think most of you are already aware, but just wanted to make sure that everybody knew it's there in case they had that. We just had our Resilience and Brilliance event down in Sacramento last week, and got to participate with a lot of different fire safe councils throughout California. Looking forward to some additional workshops that are going to be coming up, and I'll provide dates as those get closer. But that's end of report for me.
Concerning the evacuation grant, can you just briefly summarize what that's about? Is that fuel reduction along evacuation routes? What is it for?
Yes, it is. And there's some variables in there that a county can ultimately put together a plan or a program that would assist in either adding to or augmenting existing evacuation routes, creating new ones, or some project that would match the similarities of that. So there's some creativity available in that grant, and if you take a look at the link, it gives a pretty good explanation.
All right, thank you. All right, next on the agenda is a CAL FIRE update.
Good evening, guys. Just want to remind folks that we're still in fire season. I know it's sometimes deceiving with the cold temperatures, but we are still in fire season. We won't be going out of fire season until we get a significant amount of precip. We're still at peak staffing, which means 13 engines, 2 dozers, 2 Deadwood hand crews, and 2 firefighter 1 hand crews. We were very fortunate this year to have a Type 1 helicopter assigned to the Siskiyou unit. That helicopter is no longer up here anymore. It won't be back for the season. We did get extended our peak staffing till the end of the year to like December. As of right now, obviously it depends on weather. We all know that. We have 2 projects that we are working on. We're prepping right now the Little Bogus area for a VMP out there off of Ager Beswick, as well as the Plank project out there in Scott Valley. So those will be happening here soon. Let's see, what else do I have on here? We do still have a lot of resources out on assignments down south. They are experiencing the Santa Ana wind, so we do have some folks down there, as well as some engines. And then just remind folks that we are down to 2 Deadwood crews. So if you need Deadwood crews or crews in general to help with your projects, please make sure that you get in contact with your local battalion chiefs. That way they can help you get those crews scheduled, so we can make sure that we can get everyone's needs met as much as we can. And the last thing I had was we did have some changes within the unit. The relief battalion chief that used to be John Kiska. John Kiska took a job in the Shasta unit. We now have Keith Cummings. And then our new training chief is Matt Hill. Matt Hill used to be the fire captain in Weed, so he's now our training chief. So if you hear those names, just welcome them to their new positions. Besides that, that's all I have if there's no questions, Giselle.
Any questions? Well, thank you, Susie. Forest Service.
Okay. Hi, can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, cool. I've been having some trouble with my microphone. So we are still here on the Klamath in our regular fire season staffing pattern. I'll give you guys a quick update on the 3 large fires on the Klamath National Forest. And the first one I'll start with is the river complex. It's got a type 3 team on it. It's 199,293 acres, and it's 89% contained. With the increased winds that we saw this weekend, particularly on Sunday, we had an uptick in fire behavior in the Minnehaha Creek area, which is on the southeastern part of the fire. The fire remained within all of the boundaries that they have identified. So they did bring in some additional heavy helicopters and some hotshot crews to handle that increased fire behavior. As for the rest of the efforts out there, fire suppression repair is ongoing, and we're looking at transitioning that incident back to the forest sometime next week. There's a bear team, which is a burned area emergency response team, coming in this weekend. The McCash fire still has a type 2 team on it. It's 94,962 acres. It's 86% contained, and they're heavy in suppression repair as well, and looking at transitioning to a type 3 team this weekend. Finally, the Antelope fire, that's had a type 3 team on it from out of the area for 3 weeks. Really just kind of heavy suppression repair out there. And we just transitioned to a local type 3 team to oversee what's left of that repair effort. We got some precipitation across the forest. It was pretty light. There was some snow reported, but we had in the area around Callahan and that southern part of the forest, little to no precipitation was received. So with that, fire restrictions, they're gonna be expiring on October 15th with the cooler temperatures and that little bit of moisture that we got. We were running moderate for our fire danger. The Shasta Trinity, actually, I don't know, is anybody on from the Shasta Trinity? I don't think so. I believe that they are going out this week, and the Six Rivers National Forest is out of restrictions. We are looking at prescribed burning, working on planning for that. You should see a press release coming out hopefully in the next week or so. And Giselle, I can tell you guys about the underburns that we have planned if you want, or I can, I know I'm getting a little long-winded here.
Sure.
Okay. So on the Salmon Scott District, there is a project called the Scott Project, and that's on the in the Scott Bar Mountain area. That's about 400 acres. All of it is in Wooey. We have the Jack Project, which is on the Cecilville Callahan Road, kind of right in between Callahan and the Carter Meadows Summit. We're looking at 200 acres there. And then the McBaldy Project is 300 acres in the Deadwood, Baldy, McKinley Mountain area. That's part of a larger project that is treating that ridge between Scott Bar Mountain to Wairika. And it sounds like there's multiple landowners that are part of that effort on getting the fuels treated along that ridge. Oak Knoll this fall is looking at 400 acres of underburning in the Doe Peak area near Mount Ashland. And then Happy Camp has got about 600 acres on the docket south of Happy Camp in the Elk Creek drainage. I believe that's part of a collaborative project with Trex. So that's pretty exciting. And so those are the projects that we have kind of slated for the fall. We're hoping to start possibly next week, but there is some precipitation in the forecast, so that could, of course, change our plans. We've moved on to hiring for our permanent fire positions. It's our fall fire hire event. It's 3 weeks long. So we're shift into that. And then we also are sending resources to Southern California for those Santa Ana fires. End of report, unless there's questions.
Thank you. Great report. Next, Are there any questions, by the way? Okay, hang on. Here we go. Siskiyou Prescribed Burn Association. Lindsay, are you going to report on that, or are you gonna?
I'm gonna let Erica provide the update, because we're just helping out with Trex. But then I'll come back when she's done to give the RCD update, because I have something to mention there.
All right.
Right, awesome. Thanks, Lindsay. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you well.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, so we are in week 2 of our Klamath River Prescribed Fire Training Exchange. It's always a nice time of year when you can transition out of wildfires and into more prescribed burning, and really nice, just speaking for myself as a resident of the Middle Klamath, to be out of the McCash fire bite and into the prescribed burn season. And we typically burn somewhere in the ballpark of 200 to 500 acres a year during this Trex event. It's the largest prescribed fire training exchange in the country, which is pretty cool. And I often hear that statistic quoted these days. This year, I expect those numbers to bump up a little bit, depending on how we're counting our acreage. As Jennifer mentioned, there is that 600 acre burn that Klamath National Forest will be doing on public land in the Elk Creek drainage near Happy Camp. We will be collaborating on that and assisting to burn some private property adjacent. So in the end, however, it's not about the acreage, it's about the training and the capacity building that we accomplish. And Trex is this pretty cool model where we bring people from lots of different agencies and backgrounds, and people who bring lots of different skill sets and qualification levels, and everyone gets a chance to train and be trained at the same time.
Erica,
so,
can you tell us what the acronym Trex stands for?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. Trex stands for the Prescribed Fire Training Exchange. So it's really, the TR is the training and the EX is the exchange part. And just to give folks a little bit of a geographic idea of where we're focused, we try to sort of spread the prescribed burn love around. So we started out in Happy Camp, did some really successful burns up just northeast of Happy Camp. We moved down along the Highway 96 corridor, which is where we've been this week, working with Six Rivers National Forest to burn in the Soames Bar Integrated Fire Management Project footprint. That's been pretty exciting. That collaboration is a long time coming, and that project is a demonstration basically of how we can treat at a landscape scale, at a larger scale, through manual and mechanical thinning in preparation for more broadcast burning, underburning. And so it's nice to start chipping away at that and actually doing the implementation of it on whatever scale we can when the windows present themselves. So this week we're mainly in Soames Bar. Next week we'll bump back to Happy Camp. Hopefully that provides a little bit of the geographic scope of where we're working. And I'm happy to answer any other questions. Or Lindsay, you've been on the ground taking weather and helping to train other people to be fire effects monitor and serve in that role. So if you want to chime in, feel free.
I'll just add that, yeah, we're seeing really good effects, this moderate weather, cooler, kind of wetter climate is getting some really nice ecological benefits, as well as fuels reduction benefits in the burns. So it's been great to see that.
And one of the outcomes of this training exchange is typically that people get a chance to, if they have an open task book, they get a chance to get some ink in that task book, or maybe get that signed off. Definitely to get some evaluations by someone who's qualified in that position they're trying to fill. And so every year we get people who earn qualifications and then can go on and continue, playing important roles in the world of both wildfire and prescribed fire. Any other questions?
Okay.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
All right. So next up, well, let me get my thing up here. Lindsay?
Yeah, so just quick update from the RCD. Our contractor for the Dunsmuir fuel break project is scheduled to start next month. So I think I might have seen that maybe with Linda might have been on here today. I'm not seeing her name here anymore. So we'll be reaching out to Linda Shubin to help get that project going when our contractors come online in about a month. So yeah, we were hoping to get that project implemented this spring, but then some permitting delays and then the wildfire season hit us pretty fast. So we're excited to get that on the ground. So I just wanted to mention that that's going to be happening here soon.
Good.
If anyone has any questions about that or anything else, I'm happy to answer, but I'm going to have to jump off soon because our board meeting is at 6:30. So I'm going to have to jump off to attend that. But
well, thank you, Lindsay, for taking the time. Sure appreciate you. All right, and then moving on to the next one. Karuk tribe's not here. NRCS is not here. Air Quality Board is not here. Sheriffs are not here today. Oh, United Way. Jackie knew she reported she was unable to come today, but to tell you that their disaster response team is responding to the needs of the fire survivors in all of the Northern California regions. So Pacific Power couldn't be here. He apologized. And I think, Mount Shasta Bioregional, they couldn't be here, but on September 25th, they held a home hardening workshop at one of the local nurseries. That was really good. And they talked about your vegetation, specifically trees, overhanging buildings, and then things you can do to make your home more fire safe. It was a good outreach. So, okay. Anybody else have anything to say before we move on?
Yeah, Giselle, this is Tyler Averitt with Pacific Power.
Oh, okay.
I have nothing to report, but wanted to take time to introduce myself. I'm a new emergency manager here with Pacific Power based out of our Grants Pass Service Center. I cover everything from Eugene, all our service territory in Northern California. So I'm new to the utility industry. However, I come from the Oregon Department of Forestry, 15 years working wildfire operations and mitigation. So looking forward to working with you folks.
Oh, well, welcome, Tyler. We look forward to working with you as well. Okay.
And I put my contact info in the chat.
So. Oh, thank you. Yeah. Anybody else have something to say? It's a good time. We're only into this an hour, so we have a little bit. So anybody else want to say anything? Any updates? All right. Well, I guess that's a wrap. Thank you all for coming. It's been great. I've enjoyed the presentation and hearing from you all. And be in contact if you need if you have questions that need to be answered, I'll do my best or find somebody that has the answers. So anyway, happy October, happy fall, and we'll talk to you soon.